Coming up, we speak with the Alabama-Coushatta Tribe of Texas's newly elected second chief, and we introduce you to the winner of the 2022 Joy Harjo Prize. Plus, the Director of Language for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation joins us. I am Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews plus headlines from the ICT newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona is home to 22 tribal nations and more than 340,000 Native Americans. Arizona State University builds on more than 6 decades of working and partnering with tribal nations and communities. Many of our Native faculty incorporate Indigenous knowledge systems in seeking solutions through a process of community engagement that respects and honors traditional ways of thinking. Together, we are creating community solutions leading to a more equitable future.
Amadawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. In late December, the 117th Congress sent a stack of 65 bills for President Joe Biden to sign into law. Of that stack, 9 include laws affecting Native communities. One bill establishes a Native Language Resource Center, while another directs the president to review whether federal agencies are promoting the use of Native languages in their affairs. Several bills tackle water rights. One amends the water rights for the White Mountain Apache tribe, while 2 others allow the Hualapai tribe and the Colorado River Indian tribes to enter into a water rights agreement. There are several laws to protect sacred lands. That includes one in California that puts over 1,000 acres of land into trust for the Karuk tribe. Another puts over 2,500 acres of land into trust for the Agua Caliente Band of Kahia Indians. Another law allows the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation to lease their land for up to 99 years. The last bill amends the Not Invisible Act of 2019 to extend a joint commission for an additional 18 months to combat violent crimes on Native lands. Well, medical care for Indigenous veterans will soon become more accessible. The Department of Veterans Affairs says it is planning to waive all medical co-pays for Native American and Alaska Native veterans who have a known tribal affiliation. Following through with a congressional mandate made in 2020, the Veterans Health Care and Benefits Improvement Act prohibits the VA from collecting co-payments from Indigenous veterans. The VA needed to enact this legislation by January 5th of last year, but missed the deadline. Now the department says it will reimburse eligible veterans who have received care in the past year for any co-payment costs. There are an estimated 150,000 Native American and Alaska Native veterans who are eligible for health care services in the U.S. Native Americans make up less than 1% of the 100,000 people across the country who are waiting for organ transplants. A new effort is underway that could see more Indigenous people receiving and donating their organs. ICT senior producer Vincent Moniz has the story.
Today is a monumental day that people will remember, especially Native Nation, for decades to come.
The Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians has made the rare move of encouraging its tribal citizens to donate their organs. The tribe believes it's among the first of the 574 federally recognized Native American nations to designate a spot on tribal IDs for organ donation. The effort can be traced back to Grayson Precian, who had a heart defect and later received a heart transplant. His grandmother, Joan Azure, helped spearhead her nation's effort after Grayson ultimately died of pneumonia in September 2019. He was 21 months old.
So by doing this, we're honoring him and we're keeping him alive, so to speak, because now with people checking the box, they're going to help save lives. And that's what his legacy means is, he was a little boy who united a community.
North Dakota tribal citizens aren't the only ones in the fight to get more people to donate. Though the rates of donations are much smaller for natives, their reasons for not donating are broad. Some tribes have religious beliefs against organ donations, while others simply do not have a driver's license to indicate they'd be donors. Hema's Pueblo citizen Daryl Magdalena, who discusses organ donation with tribes in the Southwest, says convincing natives is half the battle.
It has been a pretty big challenge due to the fact that, with our cultural ways and our ways of life, talks about death, illnesses is very taboo, because it's a very personal choice.
Magdalena has helped change minds by connecting kidney disease, which afflicts Native Americans at higher rates, with organ donation and receipt. And there's hope that with more accessibility, there will be more Native people willing to check that box. In Bismarck, North Dakota, Vincent Moniz, ICT News.
Nominations are now open for the 40 Under 40 Awards given by the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. The award highlights the achievements of younger members of Indigenous communities. Nominees must be no older than 39 at the time of winning the award. Past winners include business owners, professors, lawyers, and healthcare professionals. And the award winners are honored at the annual Reservation Economic Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada. Nominations for this award can be submitted directly on the National Center's website. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. On this weekend edition of the ICT Newscast, we're speaking with Indigenous people leading the way in Indian country. For the first time, a woman was elected second chief of the Alabama-Coushatta Tribe of Texas. Millie Thompson Williams talked with us about her historic victory. Welcome, Second Chief Williams.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So start us off and tell us a little bit about your tribal nation.
My tribal nation is the Alabama-Coushatta Tribe of Texas. We located here maybe like 90 miles out of from Houston. And we settled here in Piney Woods of East Texas, and we're here to stay.
I want to talk about your historic victory. Tell us how that played out for you, and what made you want to step up for a role like this?
Well, first of all, my cousin was the one that nominated me for the second chief. And she asked me, we talked about it, as we were growing up, we used to play like we were in tribal council, and we would say no to everything that came about. And we used to play like that. And then here recently, we were talking, and she asked me, I'm going to nominate you for a second chief. And at first, I thought she was joking, so I just, laugh and joke around with her. And then before I knew it, she nominated me. And after that, I said, okay, this is a serious role that I got to get into. And what I did was I didn't campaign or anything. I just left it in God's hand. I asked the creators that if you want me to be the second chief, then you will make a way. If you want me to wait for a little while, then I'll understand. But this is where I am today. It's the second chief of the Alabama-Coushatta Tribe.
I understand you actually have a background in both education and health. Tell us about that experience and how you think it'll help you in this new role.
My education, I was a teacher for 27 years in the early childhood project Head Start. I work with the children that's going into public school. I help them get ready, teach them the basic skills. And also, after the 27 years of teaching, there was a position open for the health coordinator at that time. So I went for it, and I got into this health managing department. I'm the health and mental health coordinator at this time. But the thing is that in my early years, I wanted to be a pediatric nurse, but my brother discouraged me. He said, you have a soft heart. You can't make it in that department because you'll be crying all the time. Those little babies, sometimes they die. And after a while, I kind of drifted away from that ideal. But now, I'm at the department where I can help those little children. When they don't feel good, they bring them to me, and I help them, and I hold them, and give them love. And it just seems to come back in a circle. And I'm happy to be here at this Head Start program.
As I mentioned before, your election is the first time that a woman has been elected second chief of your tribal nation. When you think about that, what does that feel like for you?
Feel like we have succeeded. It used to be just men only as I was growing up. And then after this, feel like women can do anything they want to do and be successful as well. And here I am. I never thought I was going to be in this position, but now I have a role for my tribe, and I told my people that I'll be there for them. I'll be a listening ear. I'll support the tribal council. I'll support the first chief. And I just want to help out as much as I can. And I want the young people to grow up knowing that education is very, very important in their lives, and it'll help them in the long run. And also in our primary tribe, I want them to learn their language as well.
Well, Second Chief Millie Thompson Williams, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
That was Second Chief of the Alabama-Coushatta Tribe of Texas, Millie Thompson Williams. When we come back, we'll visit the 2022 Joy Harjo Poetry Prize winner. Kinsale Drake, who is Diné, writes poetry, plays, and loves to perform. The Yale University grad has had her work appear in places like Teen Vogue and Time magazine. The recent winner of the Joy Harjo Poetry Prize spoke to us about her work. Hi, Kinsale, and congratulations to you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So to start, how did you find out that you won this award, and what does it mean to you to have been declared the winner?
Oh my gosh. I was actually in London for a graduate program kind of introduction, and I was on the London Tube, and somebody was trying to call my phone and I thought it was spam. And I got an email and they were like, oh, you should really pick up the phone. We have good news. So I got the call that I was the winner. I was just in shock. I was with two of my friends, and I had told them, I was like, I think I just won. And so they were like waiting and looking at me. And then when I was nodding and on the phone, they just started yelling, and the whole train was like, what is going on? But it was so wonderful. I think it was just a nice demonstration of the growth of the work that I've been doing, especially in more experimental directions. And especially as an undergrad, it's really hard to feel like as an artist or a writer that you're doing something right or well, if you can even know that at all. And so for me, this was definitely a step in the direction that I wanted my work to be going in. And I love what the piece is, and I'm proud of it. So I'm really happy that it, won this prize, this wonderful prize.
It was actually your poem called Navajo English Dictionary that was selected to win. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so my grandmother was a teacher at a school near Navajo Mountain, Utah, which is where my family's from. So we have a lot of like old books lying around our home. And there was a dictionary that was from the early 1900s that my mother had. And it was this thin dictionary. And I wanted to open it up and play with the form of the dictionary. I think it was really interesting to experiment with how you read something in translation, usually from Navajo to English, left to right. So you're reading down a page, and I wanted to disrupt that so that there was life and emotion in the reading of these words. How can dictionaries, how does like the ephemera of learning materials, how does it become so standardized and uniform, and how can we really disrupt that to make it more like how somebody would stumble through and learn a language, or stumble through and relearn a language, and kind of incorporate how one would feel doing that, how it shapes the mouth, how it like lives in the body, how Navajo is so different in sound from English, which, Navajo is so guttural at some points, but it's so loose and so descriptive at others. And of course there was an interest in landscape of the dictionary page, what the letters look like, what they could be reshaped as, and how disrupting anglicized ways of reading can destroy the uniformity that comes in with the dictionary, and it can create something new.
I want to actually talk about who this award is named after. Have you had the chance yet to meet Joy Harjo?
Yes, I have. I'm a big fan, clearly. I've met her a couple of times. I was actually a national student poet, so the first time I met her was a reading when she was just named U.S. Poet Laureate. She came and she did the inaugural reading with the new class of national student poets, and I got to read a piece at the beginning of that performance. But I just was with her last spring for the Indigenous Nations Poets retreat at the Library of Congress, and I love watching her. I saw her end her term there, and that was incredible.
That's wonderful. We're, of course, in January of 2023. As you're looking forward to what this year looks like for you, what kinds of projects and pieces do you have coming out soon?
I am constantly an educator, I think, first and foremost. So I'm actually going to Seattle very soon to work with Native youth up there on poetry and mental health programming. So I think poetry is really important in empowering Native youth in general. I was in South Dakota last month as well. So I'll be doing a couple projects. I have some artist residencies as well that I'm really excited for. And I just finished my first manuscript of poetry, which is very exciting. It's about Native music, rock and roll. I'm a big music nerd, so I'm very excited to see what happens with that. I have some exciting news that I'm keeping under wraps with that as well, but the Navajo English Dictionary is from that collection, which is really wonderful.
I sing the beauty of the mornings we share, our bright white laughter like children's. I greet the beauty with how we river our bodies under the growing sun, the sky above turquoise showering prayer, soft rain all around. I come from the beauty that thrives in the dusks of our lives. Abalone lullabies, soft calls to return home in the evening. I leave behind me the beauty so that you may wake to its starry cradle all around. Brilliant specks of pollen against jet black, the end and the beginning, the end and the beginning.
Well, Kinsale, you'll have to join us again when you have to, announce that exciting news. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This land has its ghosts too. Once an ancient ocean, it blisters under the weight of crossing its many wounds, stitching a genealogy we eternalize. Here, an uncle drowned in the monsoon season, his hair tangled in a saguaro. A cousin by the old adobe ruins suffocated in a collapsed cliffside. These, the careful geography of all we have inherited. Our clan has learned to carve our caring out of warning, survival, a tribute of generational love ensured by hiding hand in hand between the gunny sacks, stirring raids, my grandmother tells me. An entire village dreams fevered dreams of slipping children beneath the sagebrush, its greatest wish to turn invisible like ghosts. Our clan uses metaphor to sweeten sorrow. You must know I truly love you if I ask you not to whistle in the night. Any sound that draws the enemy near. This, my mother taught me from her mother and her mother. Generations of superstitions having turned pale infantrymen into the boogeymen that come for our children. For any sound in the darkness louder than a sigh, what I learn. The language of fear is a form of love because it keeps us alive.
That was Joy Harjo Poetry Prize winner Kinsale Drake. Many tribes are turning to technology to teach and retain their language. The Citizen Potawatomi Nation recently partnered with Google and the new app Woolaroo for such efforts. Justin Neely, the Director of Language for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, joins us to talk more about the initiative. Welcome, Justin.
Bonjour, Manowabin. Hello, good morning.
So this app launched last fall. Tell us how it works.
It's really a pretty cool piece of technology. Basically, you take your phone and you take pictures of objects, whether in your office or outside, and using AI or artificial intelligence technology, it's able to recognize what that object is and then give you the translation of that object and an audio file to hear that object.
You started working in your tribe's language department 17 years ago. Is this app making it easier for people to learn the language?
I think so, particularly for like kids, because I mean, when you're working with stuff, I mean, kids don't know how to spell, whether in Potawatomi or in English, and adults enjoy it. It's just a unique new tool for engaging in the language. So, absolutely.
Maybe lay some groundwork for us. How many fluent speakers do you estimate that you and your tribe have?
Currently, we have less than 5 fluent first language speakers. I'm a second language speaker myself.
And what actually is defined as a first language speaker?
We usually define that as someone who grew up with the language and learned it at a very, very young age, usually in the household. I started learning the language when I was about 16 or 17 years old.
I'm really curious. I mean, you already talked about young people, but maybe talking about the ways that I'm assuming that these first language speakers are elders, talking about the ways that you're either trying to document or find other ways to teach others.
We've got just a imaginable number of tools that we're using to kind of reach the youth. One thing that's kind of complicated with young people is you have to put the language in something that's real to them, basically. You know, we have a Facebook group with about 6,000 members. We have a couple of YouTube channels where we've put different cartoons and things in the language. We've taken a lot of public domain movies, put them in the language. So using technology has really been important to us to try to get the language out there and make it accessible to all tribal members.
Justin, I'm really curious, how do you turn the words into sentences so that you can, converse in the language?
Well, I mean, absolutely. With using that Woolaroo, it's kind of just an entry point. It kind of gets people interested and gets them focused. You know, they're going to be able to learn different nouns and things like that. But yeah, conjugating words is a little more complicated. In fact, the Potawatomi language, one of our parent languages or sister language, Ojibwa, was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as one of the most complex languages based on the number of verbal patterns. So you have to get those patterns down as well, yes.
And when you were working with Google, was that something that you all approached them about, or did they approach you? Maybe tell us about that process.
Yeah, they actually reached out to me, and it was kind of, at first I was like, really? Is this really Google? Is this some kind of like, spam or something? But it was in fact Google. And what had happened is one of our tribal members wrote a New York bestseller, Braiding Sweetgrass, Robin Kimmer. And in that book, she actually briefly mentioned taking some language classes with me. So when Google kind of got this idea together, they thought, some of their people had actually read that book, and they thought, well, we'll reach out to Justin and see if he'd like to be a part of it. And we're really blessed to be the only Indigenous community in North America that they partnered with. They partnered with several languages throughout the world, like Maori and some other languages.
And what do you think for other tribal nations who are maybe working on language revitalization like this? What would be your message to them in terms of, as you just mentioned, using apps to hopefully save your language?
Well, I think for a lot of us, our members oftentimes are spread out. And the beautiful thing about technology is it gives you the ability to reach countless people. So one person could teach a class that, 2,500 people could access. We also do a lot of stuff online where we record all of our classes and then we post them on our YouTube channel. So the material is available then for posterity as well. So technology really can multiply your talents in that regard. The other thing is anything that we've done is something any tribe really could do. You don't want to have to remake the wheel. If you find an idea that works for example, for our community, and it works for yours, by all means, try it out, use it.
Justin, we're nearing the end of our time here, but I do want to touch upon some children's books that you all are developing. So tell us about that.
Yeah, we just wrapped up a grant for 12 children's books. What's really fun about these children's books is we also use technology with these in the sense that instead of a child having to like look at the words and try to pronounce it, we added a QR code to the book so they can use their phone and then it will read the book to them in the language. So they don't have to wonder, did I pronounce that right? Or if their parents are reading, they don't have to worry. Just another way to use technology innovatively, I guess.
Well, thank you, Justin Neely, for telling us how the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is using this app to teach the tribe's language.
Thank you so much. Miigwech.
That was Director of Language for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, Justin Neely. And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
The Sand Creek Massacre, the betrayal that changed Cheyenne and Arapaho people forever, focuses on tribal accounts of Colorado's deadliest day. Exhibition details at historycoloradocenter.org.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.